Hello, the purpose of this tutorial is to give you some idea about how to use your interactive whiteboard and create something from the software that's available which has an interactive element to it. Now, to begin with, check that your computer has the notebook software. You'll maybe see it as an icon on the screen to the left. In some computers there'll be a little tab which appears on the left hand side, so just pull it out, click on it and pull it out, and it'll show you where to find software there, or you can just use the start button, and if the notebook software has been used recently, it'll appear in your software options on the left hand side. So if we click on that icon, it brings up Smart Notebook straight away. You'll notice that my tabs for the software appear on the right hand side. If you'd prefer them to have them on the left hand side, just use the double headed arrow to click on that and that'll move them over there. I prefer them on the right because I'm right-handed and it's easier to use. If you click off the tabs to the side of the tabs, they'll disappear. So the first thing to do is type in some text. You need not launch any no text boxes, nothing is required. Simply type, look at the keyboard, type what you want and it will immediately appear on screen. So I'm going to put in the words an interactive resource. And those words appear on the screen. Now, let's format that a little bit because it's rather dull looking as it stands. So let's drag across the text box and drag across the toolbar. You'll notice many of the icons that appear in the toolbar are very similar to what appears in Microsoft Word. So there should be a strong familiarity with what you see here in front of you. The text that you want to change, well, like anything else, just highlight it. So if you run your cursor across the side like that, let's change what type of font it is. So let's make this, instead of Corbel, Earwig Factory. Let's center it. So put it in the center of the text box which is there. We want it bigger than that. So we can maybe make that 26 instead. Might make the text box a little bit bigger because I want it all in one line, so I drag it out using the little tabs on either side. You can use either one, it doesn't matter. Let's change the color, let's make it nice and red. So just go up to where the color options are there in the toolbar and click on the red instead. And if we click off to the side of the text box, that's it in front of us. Still think that's a bit small. So I want to make that a little bit bigger so that it'll go the full width of the screen page. So I'm going to click on the text again, and that brings up something that you can change. It brings up a little box with two circles on it. Circle to the right and a circle in the middle. The green circle allows you to rotate the text. I don't think I particularly want to do that, so we'll leave it the way it is if I can get it up straight again. And then the text, the little circle to the right, on the bottom right hand side, is one which allows you to change the size. So if you want to drag that out and make it a little bit bigger, that will do it for you. Click off that. That looks about right for what we want so far. The next thing I want to do is put a picture in the middle here that I'm going to work with. So I'm going to go to the command Insert at the top left hand side of the screen. Click on Insert. And then I want to insert a picture, and that picture is in my computer somewhere. I know where it is. So I click on Picture File, and that brings up that by default, that will go to the My Pictures section of my computer. Picture I want is pretty much towards the end of that list, so I'm going to scroll all the way down there because I want to put in an icon that says YouTube on it. Click on YouTube, and that goes into the screen. Now, like anything else, and this is the lovely thing about Smart Notebook software, like anything else, you can just move that and drag it about to wherever you want. I'm going to put it about the middle of the page, and that'll work very well there, I think. So click there and let it go. The last thing I want to do at the start here is change the color of the background, because that white doesn't stand out very well against a white background. So all I need to do is right-click, take my arrow, take it away from the picture, away from the text, right-click on the space on the screen, and then go to Set Background. So I'll do that again. So I just take the arrow away from both of the things I've already placed on the screen, right-click, Set Background, and that brings up a range of options for me to put onto the screen. Let's have a nice blue background. So we'll put that on there. That blue's maybe a little bit dark. So if I click on More underneath that, it'll give me a broader palette of colors from which to draw. So I'll maybe go for a lighter blue. I'll just click this little arrow a bit higher up there, and that looks all right. Go OK. That's fine. So that's a sort of sky blue. Click with my arrow off to the side of the options that we have on the right hand side of the page, and that's all done. Now, what I don't like about this YouTube picture now is that it's got a white box around it, so we want to take that away so that it looks a slightly smoother image on a blue background. So if I put my arrow over the image, you'll see instead now you've got a crossed arrow instead. So if I right click using my mouse, right click with that arrow over the image, there's a range of options which come up. You can also access these options by using the drop-down menu in the top right-hand corner here, but right-click does exactly the same function. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the picture transparency. We're going to make part of this picture invisible. So I'm going to left-click on that, and that opens up this option where a little dropper tool appears whenever you draw your arrow over the image. Click on the bit you want to make invisible, and that's going to be the white edge on it because I don't think that looks good. Click on that, and it disappears. I'm happy enough with that, so I'm going to click OK. And when we go back to the main picture, what we can see there is that that white background has disappeared. It's important that if we're creating an interactive resource, that we anchor or lock into place some of the things that are on the screen, because we want to pull and drag with getting pupils to use their hands to move images or text around the screen. There's some things we want to move, and there's some things we want to stay where they are. So for example, the heading at the top of this slide, an interactive resource, I want that to stay where it is. I don't want that to move. So very simply I can do one of two things. Either left click, getting my arrow, moving with it over onto the text, seeing the cross-arrowed image come up instead. So it's a left click, then go to the drop-down menu, that little arrow pointing downwards on the right-hand side, click on there, highlight the section entitled Locking, and then go to Lock in Place and click with your left click, and that would work. Or, perhaps even quicker, right-click on, so take your arrow, roll it over the text you want to change. You'll see the double arrows appearing, the cross arrows appearing again. Right click on that, and this time just run down the menu where you see the word locking, and then you see where it says lock in place. Click on that, and now that text is locked. That can't move. I can't drag that anywhere. That text is locked. And if you click on it, you'll see the padlock is closed here, which tells you that text is going nowhere. Now, to make the resource, I want to put 4 numbers onto the screen, and then I want to put in 4 words as well, and I want to prioritize which of those 4 words belongs to which of the 4 numbers. So to get the 4 numbers, I could of course just type 4 numbers onto the screen, but I've saved into my pictures file some attractive looking numbers that are really more like pictures or images, and I'm going to insert those instead. So just as we did with the YouTube picture before, if we go up to Insert and Picture File, that will bring up the options from my pictures section of my computer. If I scroll down, I know where I've kept these. I've kept them in a folder where I've put all sorts of little bits of clip art that I've taken from online, and I want to scroll down to get the 4 numbers I want. So I'm scrolling all the way down here, and here's some numbers, so it's going to be around here somewhere, and there they are. And I only want the first. I want 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to put all of those in at once. So to do that, I hold down the control switch with my left hand on the keyboard, and then as I'm holding it down, I'm going to highlight each of the 4 numbers I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to click on the command box that says Open at the bottom of the screen, because what I'm doing here is inserting a picture file, and it's 4 of them. So if I go to Open, click there, all 4 numbers have appeared on the screen. So I'm going to rearrange those, and I said the lovely thing is you can just click and drag these wherever you want them to go. I want them to move up towards the top of the screen here, because I'm going to click and drag some words over them. Might make them a little bit bigger, so like I did with the YouTube video before, left click and highlight, that brings up the 2 circles. The white circle is the one you drag if you want something bigger. I might also do the same with the other three numbers, so I'm just quickly going to highlight those, click and drag, and then pick up the white box again, the white circle again, click and drag. So there are my four numbers. And even if I wanted to slightly offset them, use the green number there, the green circle this time. So highlight, green circle, and just turn. Highlight with the blue circle and turn. Highlight the number, pick up the red, or the green circle at the top and just give it a little twist, and do the same with the final number. Highlight it, pick up the green circle, and just give it a little twist to the right, and we've got four numbers on the screen. Now, as you'll see, as perhaps you saw either in the presentation to staff or in the workshop, I want to create four words that I can drag to those four numbers. And so the four words I want, I'll just put them up here, are colourful. So I just type in the word colourful and we'll drag it over there for the moment. Visual, and again I'm doing nothing other than type straight on to the screen and drag that across to there. Interactive, and lastly instructive. Now, all four of those words I would quite like to format slightly differently, make a little bit bigger, and also maybe just change the way they look, change the color. So the word instructive, might again center that again, make it, let's say, 36 point in size, and make it another color. Let's give it a nice dark blue, and maybe make it bold as well. So that's one. Interactive, do the same with that. Highlight the whole thing, center the text, make it 36 in size, make it bold, and then let's make this a nice, let's say, orange color. Okay. Then visual, same again. Highlight the word, center the word, change its size up to 36 point, make it bold, and give it another color. This time we'll make this a green. And lastly, colourful. Do the same, center the text, make it 36, place it in bold, and make it a grey colour. So we've got four different words that we want to use. It's important now to lock each of the four numbers that you've put in place where they are so that they don't move. That's because whenever you drag across the text in the course of the interactive element of the lesson, you want the pieces of the image that you have on the screen to stay in place and not to move, so that you can drag things across them. So we're going to highlight each of the four numbers in turn and lock them in place. If you hold down the Control key once again and click on each of the four numbers, and then use either the drop-down menu on the right-hand side or right-click over the image, go to locking, and lock in place. And these now are fixed in place and won't move. So you might ask pupils, what do you think are the four most important elements of an interactive resource? And tell me in ascending or descending order which of them you consider to be most important. And they might think that interactive is the most important, followed by visual, followed by instructive, followed by colourful. And that would be one group's response. Then you can drag all those back down to the bottom of the page and ask another group to come forward, and they may have a different list of four and a different priority. They may think colourful is the most important, followed by instructive, and so on. It means that each time, with the other areas of the image locked in place, the interactive elements, the words that you want to be able to drag, or these don't have to be words, they could be images themselves, you can move those around and replace them and constantly renew the same resource. The very last thing I want to show you is embedding a YouTube video into the Smart Notebook presentation. I put the YouTube icon in the center of the screen quite early on, so I want to use it. If you highlight that image, just right click on it or highlight or drag your arrow around it to highlight it. What we want to do now is link it to an area of the internet. So having highlighted it there, go up to Insert, the command at the top left-hand side of the screen, and go down to Link. Click on the word Link. That brings up another menu. This time, the web page is highlighted. If you wanted to link it to something else on your computer, you would just highlight that appropriate section of this little screen that's come up now. It's looking for a web address, so something here along the lines of www. With a URL, which is the URL, the address, the web address of what you want to add. I've already found something that I want to put in here. It's a YouTube video which tells us something about smart notebooks, 5 tips and tricks for the smartboard. So if I get the URL, which is along the top here in the browser, and highlight that and right click and copy, then bring up again the dialog box which is attached to the smart notebook file I've created, right click in that box and paste, and that's my link made. If I click on the object button there, that means that every time I click on the YouTube image, which is behind this box, every time I click on that, that will take me directly to the part of the internet which has the tutorial on it that I want to show. Click OK, and that's it done. Perhaps the last thing you don't want this to jump about now either. So now that we have used it, go to the drop down menu again, go to locking, lock in place, and the resource is complete. And just to show you that that's worked, if I hover over the image, notice the arrow changes from an arrow to a hand. Click on the hand, and that takes me immediately to the smartboard tips that you can find on YouTube. So that's us finished. We've learned how to insert text. We've learned how to put in images, how to lock those images in place, how to create text that you can drag over the images as part of the interactive nature of the resource, and finally shown how to use YouTube and embed a YouTube video into the same presentation. Good luck.